Candy doesn't have to have a point. That's why it's candy.
It's one thing to come across a candy you enjoyed in your youth when perusing the stock at your local corner store, but it's another thing entirely when you search for a candy that's a little outside the normal candy parameters. There are quite a few odd candies out there, and no, they aren't all that easy to find. So let's get our detective hats on and investigate 10 candies you would be so lucky to find.
Really? Feeling lucky, are you?
Gummy-Aid Band-Aids.
It's not what I was expecting.
Now, some of these candies have all but disappeared, the companies that manufactured them and distributed them having closed their doors long ago. But there are a few of them that can still be found, on the old World Wide Web, that is. This candy in particular falls under that category specifically, as BlairCandy.com still sells this item and states clearly that the item can be shipped next day, should the customer need a taste of this blast from the past so soon. Each order contains 12 boxes of Gummy-Aid bands, and each box has 8 Gummy-Aid bands in it. That's roughly 100 Gummy-Aid bands and sells for a pretty impressive $35 a box. Nostalgia is rarely cheap.
You're bleeding me dry!
But if you want to relive your childhood, slapping gummy Band-Aids on yourself and eating them off, this is among the only options still available to do so. While these are cool and taste good, if you like gummy candy, we're not too surprised these are hard to find nowadays. After all, both the packaging and candies themselves are meant to look like Band-Aids, something no one wants to eat. That said, if nostalgia strikes, or you find these cool, these obscure little gummy candies are still out there to be purchased.
I have a boo-boo.
Belly Flops, the irregular jelly bean. This one's pretty interesting to say the least, as we would definitely wonder what would inspire a person to need this particular variation of jelly bean, as opposed to the tried, tested, and true originals that are pretty easy to find in any gas station, corner store, and even department store. They're available in large packages at Walmart, the regular ones are at least, and are pretty cheap all in all. Yet still, this particular variation, Belly Flops, became quite popular, and all because of the way they looked. They're obviously deformed jelly beans. The only thing we question is the fascination, as they taste the same as the regular old style of jelly bean.
What are those? What are those? Tell me, please!
Jelly beans. But we digress. To each their own, as they say, right? And although it is Jelly Belly that manufactures these misshapen pieces of candy, they aren't all that easy to find like the standard sort. But there is a saving grace at the end of all of this, as these too are available to order online. So just whip out the old credit card and belly flop it onto your lap as you enter the numbers when placing your order.
Internet, so helpful.
Astronaut Neapolitan ice cream.
Let's just do this one, and I'll get you some Astronaut ice cream.
Damn right you will.
We want to start this entry about Astronaut Neapolitan ice cream by stating the facts that it's actually ice cream and that astronauts don't take this candy into space. So certainly you're asking yourself the same question as us. Why call it Astronaut Neapolitan ice cream then? Our best guess is that this candy is basically what non-astronaut candy makers came up with when trying to make candy that would appear to be ice cream fit for space travel. The manufacturer clearly states this candy was developed for the early Apollo space missions, not actually taken on board.
I bet I could sue them for false advertising. What is this?
That said, it actually accomplishes the feat of pretending to be Neapolitan ice cream for astronauts quite well. Just one look at this candy and you see the 3 colors of Neapolitan ice cream, and you see a freeze-dried snack that would seem to be functional as space food. It is frozen to -40 Fahrenheit, then vacuum dried and ready to eat with no refrigeration required. All of this again seems to fit the criteria for space travel, but really, it's made to give people not in space a fun glimpse at what ice cream might be like in space.
Roger that, Houston. That's wonderful news.
Coconut watermelon slices.
And he says, watermelon? I thought you said Guatemalan.
Now those sound pretty interesting, don't they? We definitely say so, but the rarity of this particular item will make it extremely hard to locate at any store. Luckily, you've got us here at Babbletop to point you in the right direction. As it turns out, these candies, or rather confections, won't be at your local gas station on your road trip from state to state, unless you happen to travel northbound, that is. specifically Vermont. They can be found at the Vermont Country Store. A single 1-pound bag of these heavenly slices goes for $14.95 and seems to be well worth it according to some customer reviews.
Easily the best purchase I've ever made in my life.
This treat uses real coconut and has been around since the early 1930s, believe it or not. What's more shocking is that the same candy maker has been whipping pounds and pounds of these out for decades, and the recipe seems to work quite nicely at that. So if you happen to get the overwhelming need to try these, you can always order up a batch online.
Can we get some now, please?
Jelly-filled brains.
Come back here so that I may brain these!
Yes, jelly-filled brains really do exist, and for some of you, they may be a tad too gross to try. Then again, curiosity may get the better of you in the end, as is the case among foodies the world over. After all, they are only candy. However, the sight of these things may get the better of even the most adventurous foodie out there willing to try anything and everything at least once. But is curiosity enough?
I was curious! Curiosity killed the cat, you know!
Is the willingness to try all sorts of treats and foods enough to make you stick your hand in a bowl of these brains and knock one or even two down the old hatch? You may ask yourself the very same question as you take a look at these things, as they appear to be pretty, well, real. They aren't available at our local store, or anywhere else for that matter. But fret not if you've been growing more excited to give these a try despite it all. They're certainly out there in cyberspace somewhere.
I eat brains. It's disgusting. I am disgusting.
Weird beards.
Brandon, weird beard.
These aren't that old at all, particularly seeing that James Harden dons the cover of the package. You certainly recognize the name, as he's one of the NBA's hottest stars dribbling on the courts at the moment. He plays for the Houston Rockets and does quite decently for himself out there. But is it enough to be the spokesperson for a sour brand of candies and the face of the brand as well? Why not? There have been other spokesmen and women that have dropped the ball, so to speak.
We don't talk about them. It brings bad things.
These candies have undergone many forms over the years, and by that we mean packaging and additions, as the ones that feature Harden are specifically labeled as being the James Harden edition, and aren't exactly rare, but close. They won't be available everywhere, but they can be ordered online like a lot of the other brands on this list. So not to worry, your cravings shall be answered. You just have to wait out those shipping times.
Friend, how long do I have to wait?
Vermont Maple Leaf Candy.
Where does the best maple syrup come from again?
Vermont.
Well, the availability of this particular product is all in the name, of course, and if you happen to reside in beautiful Vermont, then these have probably ended up in your shopping cart from time to time. And if they have, then you know just how sweet and tempting these little buggers are. Vermont Maple Leaf Candies are literally shaped like maple leaves and are made with the freshest maple syrup tapped from local trees.
Tapping maple trees for sugar. Why not?
The flavor is infused in these candies, but they aren't as clear as you'd expect, the end result being quite murky as opposed to some other maple candies that are diluted with water and, of course, corn syrup. Yes, indeed, these are all natural, and if you decide to hit the road and make the trip north, south, east, or west, depending on where you're taking off from, then we'd recommend these little drops of heaven. You won't regret it.
I want them now.
Jordan Almonds.
No tossing of the Jordan almonds. I repeat, put the almonds down.
Now these are a specialty item. Jordan almonds are amazing candy-covered almonds that are actually often used as candy for weddings and large events. To accommodate these events, Jordan almonds come in over 25 different colors to match any color scheme your event might need. Don't misunderstand the fact that these are often used as wedding and event candy though. They are also amazing even if a midday snack is the only occasion.
A midday snack, my king?
All of this said, Jordan almonds aren't just available everywhere, hence why they are on this list. Since orders for these do tend to be centered around large events, most orders are custom and done online. You can do the same. A quick search will bring up a few different online stores selling Jordan almonds, where you'll be able to select what colors you want and how much, usually sold by the pound. Then in just a couple business days, you'll be having some of the best candy-covered almonds ever.
Jordan almonds. They're great.
Gummy chicken feet.
Niles, next time you cut up a chicken, save the feet.
If you didn't know, you'll definitely know now. These chicken feet are actually a thing, and are even quite the popular item where gummy candies are concerned. There are actually quite a few brand names that have variations of these weird little treats. You pick, Trolley, Nassau Candy, and Sweet Gourmet included. You wouldn't think it, but these are a solid choice for gummy candy-loving individuals, and you may even see some at your local store, making these a tad easier to find out there. But at the same time, they are still rare enough to have made this list of ours, so they aren't all that readily available, like say gummy bears or gummy worms.
No. Grandma, please, not gummy bears.
Which, let's face it, take up most of the gummy candy market. And why not? Those candies are a bit easier to digest in terms of what they represent, aren't they? Okay, maybe not the worms, but the bears? Well, they are so cute and cuddly, you half feel bad eating them. But the chicken feet are indeed an odd item. Still, who's to judge? After all, a person's tastes are as versatile as the colors on a chameleon. So here's to having the right to choose your favorite brand of gummy candy. You know where we stand. Now it's time to make your choice. So go ahead, go to your favorite online store and give these babies a try.
Where's my computer?
Wasabi Flavored Kit Kat.
Wasabi nugget?
Thanks.
Usually, when you say the words Kit Kat, a chocolate coating covering a tasty wafer cookie comes to mind. Maybe even the catchy jingle will come to mind, and happen to get stuck in your head for hours until you satisfy the craving. But what shouldn't come to mind, at least where a lot of people are concerned, is the spicy and tangy flavoring of wasabi, which is usually reserved to spice up your favorite sushi rolls. But as it turns out, the Kit Kat bar is actually available in such a flavor, among many others. You'd be surprised to know that in Japan, there are close to 50 or more incredible and odd combinations, like the wasabi flavored Kit Kat. Some include Hokkaido melon and cheese, pear, maple, miso soup, sweet potato, and so many more. One that stands out is watermelon.
Excellent choice in the crushed watermelon, by the way.
Now, we know that on the surface that one seems to be okay, but not when mixed with chocolate. Watermelons are indeed epic fruits, but they should pretty much be reserved for eating on their own. Maybe in a summer salad with grapes and cucumber and mint, even for bubblegum flavors, and of course Slurpee flavoring. But for chocolate, there's something in that just rubs us the wrong way. But then again, we may just be surprised at how these taste. After all, it is the great culinary minds in Japan that came up with these flavors, and well, at the end of the day, they haven't disappointed us before.
Those clever Japanese have done it again.
Loving the candy craze? Then why go anywhere else? Tap that screen to check out another one of our great videos. And if you're here for the first time, then show us some love too, and bang that subscribe button and bonk that bell to join our notification squad.